My name's Collin Becker. I'm here at the Chevron Phillips chemical plant in Sweeney, Texas. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what it takes to be an engineer. So just a little info about myself. I'm from Baldwin, Missouri. It's a suburb outside of St. Louis. I went to Kansas State University and I graduated in May of 2019 with a degree in mechanical and nuclear engineering. Currently, I'm an operations engineer here at Chevron Phillips. In my prior role, I was in the maintenance department as a maintenance engineer. And then before that, I actually did a stint as an intern with Harley-Davidson Motor Company in Kansas City. So I guess we're gonna start off talking a little bit about what you need to do in high school. Take any of your STEM labeled classes, anything about engineering, science, technology, math. Try to take advanced math classes. If you can, get into any of your advanced calculus. That will help you in the long run when you get to college. And then if they have any shop classes, welding, woodworking, anything like that, it helps give you a practical understanding of stuff you study in college. And you have opportunities to do stuff after school. So robotics and coding, right? So I'm a mechanical engineer by degree. People are like, why would you do coding? Well, there is times where I need to get down and sit down and do a little bit of coding work on the computer. And it's faster than trying to have an electrical engineer or a computer engineer help me with that. And so let's talk about college. So college, you have so many majors to choose from: mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, biomedical engineering. The list goes on and on and on, and you can get as specialized as you want just to follow your interests. So one thing I would recommend is understand your industry that you choose. If you want to go to mechanical or chemical route, really understand what you do or what people do. And I guarantee if you know people that are engineers, they'd be more than happy to talk to you about what they do on a daily basis and what opportunities exist in that degree choice. So I would recommend getting involved during your time in college. You have Formula SAE, where we actually build a Formula race car like behind myself. We also have Baja for more of the people that are into off-road. And then one thing I cannot stress enough is internship. Many people have internships nowadays, and it just makes it more and more competitive when you go to get a job in the future after you graduate. And it makes it 10 times easier to talk about experience and things you accomplished and did in the real world as opposed to just school. So we're gonna transition to what life is like as an engineer. Lots of meetings. I spend 60 to 70% of my time in meetings, making decisions with a group of people, and then the rest of that time going actually solving those problems and working on our path forward that we had decided on in the meeting. Firefighting, I don't actually fight fires, but there's sometimes that problems pop up and you have to really go take care of those immediately, drop everything that you're doing. Project management. Most of my time is I get individual projects that I have to work on and complete, and then have other people that work with me, and delegating tasks to get done to those people is a big part of my job. Working with craftsmen. So that's actually the guys that are out there turning wrenches, fixing things. I love hanging out with those guys and working hard with those guys. They can teach you so much, so please don't discount them because they're not an engineer, because they can teach you a ton. Sometimes I work long hours, right? Your typical schedule, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. But I've been here 12 hours, 13 hours at some points in the day. And, I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it can be long hours away from home. So I have two videos for you. The first video is the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. It actually collapsed because engineers didn't take into account all of the real world variables and didn't get the problem right. So we'll take a look. So as you can see, there's cars on there. You can see it swaying in the wind, and then eventually it did collapse. And so engineers, are in charge of that. And obviously they didn't get it right, but that is a problem that you get to work on in the future if you're an engineer. So the second video I have for you guys is the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded during takeoff into space. And there's actually a very specific reason on why it exploded. There was a gasket on the solid rocket booster, got too cold for the weather conditions, and it allowed a leak to occur which caused an explosion. One of the engineers found this out before it took off, escalated to his boss and higher, and they all told him it's not an issue, it won't be an issue, because we're not going to launch in that bad weather. But there was so many delays due to weather that they were getting antsy, and finally decided to make the decision that they were going to launch. Despite all of the persuasion and talking and meetings that the engineer tried to get them to change their mind and be aware of this issue, and they didn't listen to him. So the lesson I want you guys to take away is engineers make decisions, make very important decisions, and can change people's lives. The next topic is, what do you guys think engineers wear? I have a guy that wears a suit and just business casual, just a dress shirt and some casual pants. Most engineers wear a variety of these. So some days when I go to corporate, I'm wearing a business casual, a button-down shirt, and nice pants. And most days I wear FRCs. But it really is all about what you do and what career path you choose for yourself. There's actually engineers that are functioning lawyers that wear full suits all the time and work in patent law. And we actually have engineers that are lawyers here for CP Chem that wear suits as well. One of the next topics is, how has engineering changed in the future? Well, technology is the main reason. Technology continues to change the way engineers work and the way engineers function. There's two different softwares that engineers use, computer-aided design, CAD, or CAM, which is computer-aided modeling. And that's how we make most of our decisions. Instead of working out all of our problems by hand, we use computers to assist us and make decisions faster and make decisions more accurately. Baby boomers are leaving the workforce, and it's opening up a lot of opportunities to move up rather quickly for people around my age, and even so much more younger generation that's younger than me. As technology continues to change the world we live in and change engineering, it will also reduce the number of skilled labor positions as robots and technology replace those people. So engineers will become more prevalent to handle the robots and the technology that we utilize every day. So, and then along those lines, computer and electrical engineers will become the highest paid, as seen with Tesla and Microsoft and Google. Those continue to pay the highest because it is the future. Technology is the future. So the final topic before we complete the experiment that I have laid out in front of us is how to be successful as an engineer. So take risks, and not so much that they're bad decisions, but with an innovative solution that you haven't used before, it can really play it into your benefit to make a big impact and get yourself recognition. Challenge your boss within reason, right? Like I talked about with the Space Shuttle Challenger, those engineers challenged their bosses because they knew they were right and the bosses didn't listen. But you need to understand the problem completely and have your facts laid out, or you will, burn some bridges and, hurt some feelings, which is not what you want to do. So be flexible with where you work, right? We work down here in Sweeney, Texas. You can work in Houston. I know people that are working out in the mines in the middle of New Mexico and Arizona. I know people that are working up in Alaska. You need to be flexible with where you work and go where the jobs are and where the opportunities exist. Take on extra work. The best way to get recognition for yourself is to take on work that not everyone wants to do, stay a little late, and it will pay dividends in the end of your career. Some good qualities of engineers are listed below, and those qualities match with what good qualities of people are. Listening. You need to be able to listen, because sometimes there's senior engineers that really know what they're talking about, and you can learn so much from them. Attention to detail, right? The engineers paid very good attention to detail in the Space Shuttle Challenger when they found out that gasket material wasn't made for low temperatures, but the bosses again didn't listen. Creativity. Sometimes your solution's got to be rather creative. So that's not something for art. You got to be creative. Edit that out. So most of my time is spent working in small teams. So you got to be able to work in a team well and work with other people. and honesty is a big one, and integrity. We have the oath of an engineer, and we sign that when we graduate, and so it is a big part of being an engineer. All right, now it's time to complete the experiment. All right, so a little bit about this experiment. So we're gonna basically take some normal tap water and we're gonna put it in an empty aluminum can. It doesn't have to be a Coke can, but it just happened to what I had around. So put a little bit of water. Doesn't need to be too much, just enough to fill the bottom. And we're gonna take it and we're going to set it on a hot plate like this, or some way to heat the can. And we're gonna let it sit here and wait till we see a little bit of steam come out of the can itself. So we'll take it here now. Boom. There it goes. That's all it takes. So a couple questions. So what do engineers do? I kind of explained that throughout the presentation a little bit. So engineering is so broad that it really depends on what degree you are and also what industry you choose, right? So I chose chemicals, and so I work with our process, our pumps, our turbines, many different pieces of mechanical equipment, right? Where the chemical engineers, a lot of times they work with all the process and actually making the product and the reactions that take place. What kind of money do engineers make? So this is another, engineering is so broad, along with salary ranges. So it really depends on also your degree type, where, like I mentioned, computer and electrical, they're going to become the highest paid engineers. Right now, it's petroleum and chemical engineering are some of the highest paid right out of college. Mechanical falls in the middle, civil's a little bit lower than that. But it really all depends on industry as well. But you make good money as an engineer. So work-life balance, I know being as young as you are, you guys don't necessarily understand that. What you do when you leave work, in your free time is important to people like me, and having a flexible schedule where I can go to see a doctor and not have to worry about it, or take a vacation with my family is great. And many companies offer different schedules. So some work 410, some work a 980 where they get every other Friday off. And then some work the standard 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It really all depends on the company and what benefits they offer, but work-life balance is usually good for engineers. Do engineers become bosses? Absolutely, yes. Our current CEO, Mark Lazier, is a degreed engineer, and now he is a CEO of one of the leading chemical companies. And my boss is an engineer. So engineers do become bosses, yes. Do engineers have to go to graduate school? No. So I only have a 4-year degree. One of my prior bosses had his master's in engineering. Some engineers have their PhD. It really all depends on what you want to do. People that go into research and technology usually have their master's or their PhD. People that just stay as normal engineers usually just have a 4-year degree. All right, thank you very much.